The idea behind financial minimalism is great, and far too many people spend recklessly and get themselves into financial trouble as a result. However, if you think you're going to become rich just by being a financial minimalist, you're probably going to be in for quite a surprise, and your life is probably going to be filled with misguided energy. The problem with financial minimalism. A friend of mine earns approximately $200,000 a year in salary. On top of that, he is nearing on $1 million invested in shares which pay dividends and so on. Yet his roommates, which are also friends, get frustrated because he will lecture them if they wash the dishes without optimizing the dishwasher, because they had filled the dishwasher but it wasn't fully optimized to ensure that it is maximized to make the most out of the dishwashing liquid, costing them potentially a few cents in savings that could have been made that would also have to be split between them. Now, he is taking financial minimalism to an absolute extreme, but it's an example of how it does have impacts on those around you. It's also an example of the amount of time, energy, and thought that are wasted on trying to save a few cents that is just simply not worth it. Given this friend works in sales, if he was able to redirect that time, energy, and thought towards getting an extra sale and was able to bring in just one sale, he could easily cover the extra cost of running a dishwasher without being optimized for the rest of his life. It's a funny and ridiculous example, but it really hits home. We all have a limited amount of time, energy, and amount of thought that we can process in a single day. Financial minimalism is important when you have a limited amount of earning capacity, which could be because you are young and inexperienced, where you are earning a minimum amount and need to work out how to maximize it, and a 10% increase in work is not going to provide a major difference to your income. However, there comes a point where you have the skills, experience, and even a job that enables you to be able to reallocate more of your finite personal resources towards improving your work, where the increase can be exponential. When you start to earn more, the value of spending your time on improving your work and your career will far outweigh the value of what you save by optimizing your dishwashing powder. The more you earn, the more value there is in your time, energy, and thoughts, so therefore the cheaper an item is, the more optimal it is to just spend money on it. In business, there is a concept of scale, where even if you are the best person at doing everything yourself as the owner, it's still better to hire employees to work on different areas where they can spend their time on that, which enables you to spend your time on the more optimal area of growing the business in different areas. Can the CEO of a company manage their own schedule, answer their own calls, and run their own errands? Absolutely. So therefore, based on financial minimalism, isn't every secretary or personal assistant a waste of money? None of this is to put people down for earning less. In fact, some of the people I know with the lowest salaries have the smartest, most thought out strategies to live off their salary, whilst I have other friends who are putting none of that thought in and spend pretty aimlessly and without thought. But because they are earning more, they still end up in a better position. I have a friend who refuses to get a job because he sees it as a bad way to live. So instead of working 40 hours a week to earn a decent living, he instead spends 70 hours a week on how to live rent-free. One of the biggest points of this video that I want to make is that you cannot save your way to being a millionaire unless you are actually earning enough to be able to save enough to being a millionaire. That is, if you earn an entry-level salary or a relatively low salary, all of the time you spend scheming on how to save money would actually be better spent on earning more, and then it's easier to save money. I did a video on how long it would take you to save $1 million. Even if you save $10,000 a year, it's still going to take you 42 years to save $1 million. If you're earning $50,000 a year, it's going to still be a struggle to save $10,000 a year, especially if you are married and have kids and so on. With taxes and the general cost of living, that money doesn't go far. Can you save $10,000 a year on that salary? Absolutely. But to do that forever is going to be a very minimalistic lifestyle. The truth is, a lot of the effort people put into making their lifestyle minimalistic and making every dollar count is actually time and effort that they could have been dedicating towards high-paying skills or experiences that will pay them exponentially more. If you earn $50,000 and have to spend every spare hour on how you save money, you could spend that time improving your skills or getting ahead in your career and then getting yourself to a $100,000 salary, where you could waste an extra $20,000 and yet easily save $10,000 without having to spend time on figuring out how to save that money. Here's an example to think about. If you could save money renting a room in a house that's 1 hour away from work, or you could spend more to rent a room across the road from work. Therefore, you would spend an extra 2 hours commuting, or you could spend it working, which will leave you better off. In the short term, you would save money by traveling, but in the long run, if you spent that time working, you're going to look like one super dedicated employee. If you have a job where you earn extra money through commissions, then the extra time working will start to pay off in those commissions. And you might not even be working the extra 2 hours. It could be that meet your colleagues, go for drinks or socialize after work, then by going to these types of get-togethers, you spend more time becoming a part of the company. You might not even spend that time on anything work-related. You might instead spend that time studying or learning skills or taking online university courses, for example, where the extra time will help you to improve yourself. A lot of people seem to either become 100% financial minimalist or 100% carefree spending. But you can live in the grey area and make it work for you. Find the breakdown that works for you, where you save enough of your money to build investments, but also aren't too over the top that you spend too much of your time on how to use the least amount of money possible. There's also value in experiences and being a good friend, colleague, and family member, where, for example, you aren't lecturing people about not maximizing dishwashing liquid. This is not to say to go out and waste money on superficial expenses such as a luxury car. However, it might be buying a car as opposed to catching the bus. The bus might be cheaper, but the savings of catching the bus come at the expense of how much extra time the commute takes as opposed to driving directly. So you could buy a good car that's not an expensive brand name, but is safe and can get you where you need to go. Just having a car can be beneficial in emergencies and unpredicted situations that might arise as well. When I was younger, I got my car license a year after the age I was able to, and even then my parents had to pressure me to do it. I thought the bus was fine and didn't want to deal with the hassle of driving or the costs of owning a car. However, as soon as I got my license and a car, my perspective completely changed and I was able to go places and see friends much more easily. The car as opposed to catching the bus might not be your scenario, but think about other areas in your life where you don't spend money that you might actually be costing yourself much more than you think in the opportunity cost that spending money provides. Financial minimalism is also a negative way to look at things, which is not necessarily a bad thing and is healthy in moderation. That is, focusing on how you can save money as opposed to how you can make money is inherently negative. It's important to stay grounded and not get too arrogant or ahead of yourself. So it is important to take precautions and not be overly optimistic. However, always focusing on the negatives can have its effects. Financial minimalism doesn't factor in the cost of your time, energy, and thoughts. We only have a finite amount of time, so how much is your time really worth?